When they were born, the first thing I did when they got home, I gave them some coffee, because I said, if you're not gonna live from this year, you're gonna start drinking it from now. And even my grandson now, I give him coffee.
Coffee, for some people is a luxury. For me, it's essential.
The legacy stretches back more than 140 years at this point.
You have a cup of coffee with a friend, with your wife, with your girlfriend, with your boyfriend. It's a good feeling when you're having a cup of coffee together.
It means a lot of different things to different people, but at the end of the day, it really brings people together.
There's so many people whose livelihood depend on coffee, and it's a labor of love.
For 4 generations, the family has stayed true to its roots in coffee. The future has to look back at the past. We always have to stay true to who we are.
My life in Cuba was very nice. You really didn't need a lot to be a happy person, perhaps because I was a little boy. Our family roots go back to over 140, 150 years. Our family started this business in a very humble way. Actually, our grandfather planting coffee in the fields. My dad used to talk, this was planted between your grandfather and Juan Simon, and this one between your grandfather and Luis. And they had a name. That field has this guy's name and the other fellow's name. We had to leave Cuba in 1960 for political reasons. And we went to Spain thinking that it wasn't going to last very long. We were going home. Unfortunately, that didn't happen.
There was a rumor that all the kids were going to be indoctrinated and taken away from their parents. My dad did want to stay behind, and my mother said, no, let's go. All of us, we all leaving.
My dad went to school in the United States in the 1920s, and he always wanted to come back and settle in America. So we did. We ended up in Los Angeles. We have family here. First, we were in Miami for a few months.
It was very hard at the beginning. I remember I tried to get a job at Ralph's stores, and I went in and filled up the application and was told something, but I didn't understand, so I didn't know if I had the job or not.
It was my father's passion to get back into the coffee business. Even though he was working at a restaurant and then later on at a retail store, he always was looking for a way to get back into the coffee business, even though he was 64 years at the time.
He just wanted to be back into the coffee business again because that was his life.
We'd go days off that he had from work and visit small roasters and see if they would be willing to work for him, do a little bit of roasting for him. And finally, in 1967, we purchased a small roaster and a grinder and started selling coffee for the Cuban community.
We started the company when I was about 15. After school, I would come with my mom. We would take the bus because she did not drive, and would come and help out at the company.
Our mom was the brains behind everything. My dad always, whenever we want to do something, he always say no. However, we would go and talk to my mom, and we don't know how, but the next morning my dad will get up and he came up with that idea, the one that we were proposing before.
One day I was sitting back in my office and I heard a commotion out. I went out to see what was going on, and here was this group of people who I'd never seen before. They said, "Do you make coffee cans?" And I said, "Yes, we do make coffee cans." And they said, "Well, we need somebody to make coffee cans for us." I was breaking all the company and corporate rules by allowing somebody to have less than a truckload of coffee cans, but they would come over in their little panel van and they would load what they could in that little panel van.
And it was very hard at the very beginning. I was the only salesman and delivery man, and I was working nights at a restaurant also. So I would go to the Cuban stores at that time. There were a few here.
It was really, I always thought it was only Cuban coffee what you sold. We didn't know anything else. And guess what? America is a lot bigger than Cuban coffee by far. So we discovered that pretty quick.
I was vice president, creative director at Leo Burnett, probably the 5th largest agency in the world at the time. I had worked on Green Giant, Marlboro Man, and the Doughboy. I was instrumental in developing the Doughboy. So I started a small consulting company. I wanted to work with people who loved the products they had. And Pedro and Jose walked up to me and said, "Would you design our package?" And it was actually this one. I said, "I like it. Why do you want to redesign it?" And they said that we want to get it in supermarkets. And I said, you'll never get it in the supermarket. Pedro was pushing me. He said, would you look at some numbers? So I did scanner data, and I found that we should look seriously at the whole bean business. It was the root of Don Francisco.
My dad, his name was Francisco. As a reverence for an older person, they call him Don Francisco. That's how the name of Don Francisco Coffee came up. We named it after him.
And we designed this package, which was paper. And we put a little window in it because here was a revolution happening, that here we had all these canned coffees that tasted like dishwater. And here's an opportunity where people could actually see the coffee. And we found out that first real numbers we looked at was selling like gangbusters.
It was the gourmet coffee revolution where people start thinking about getting coffee by country of origin.
And it's what we started. We started with Café Gaviña Espresso. It sells espresso coffee for the Latin taste, is what it says.
So we start hitting the espresso bars that were in the Los Angeles area. We were able to captivate 90% of them. We go out of our way to make sure that our customers, they get the best quality that is obtainable, and that's how we were able to grow the business.
In the 1980s is when really a lot of big customers came in our way. Actually, McDonald's came looking for some suppliers, I think, for other products. And the banker we were using then said, you know what, I have these Cuban guys here that roast coffee.
So first they gave us 10 stores, and then I think they gave us 20, and then they gave us the LA area, and then they gave us Southern California, and today we are doing a lot of coffee for them.
And Costco was looking for a 2-pound bag in a clear bag that somebody wanted to do, and we'll do it for you. We actually were packing it by hand. We had a small vacuum pack machine, we still have it back there. And that's how we started that brand, and it's done tremendously well.
The first time that we went to Florida with our Café Gaviña, and at that time we failed. But the second time we went down there, we went with our Café La Llave.
The Café La Llave is dedicated to the Hispanic population.
And then we were able to start little by little, and today we are the #2 brand in Florida with our Café La Llave.
So that's when really we start doing well. And then when you start growing, you start getting money to bring talent into the company. And that's what we've been doing since then.
You know, this business has survived 50 years in Los Angeles because of the hard work and dedication. It's an exciting time for Gaviña. You know, all of our brands are strong and they're healthy, and the potential for these brands is even greater.
Some of the bigger focus points in the business is taking what the family has built, the 3rd generation, and being able to transfer that over to the 4th generation. How do we capture those values that they've built a business on and keep them as a legacy to continue to grow the business?
Looking into the future, we have to look at whatever will be good for the farmer, will be good for the roaster, and will be good for the end consumer.
We've always been very careful of our suppliers as we realize them as partners, and also our environment. So we try to not have a negative impact in the environment and kind of create a positive one. We want to be sustainable for the next generation that's coming in.
The future of Gaviña is bright. There's so much opportunity for us. Our first Don Francisco's retail shop opening is so exciting.
My dream for the last maybe 20, 30 years has been to have a coffee house. We'll be opening up a brick and mortar in downtown LA.
It's really exciting because for the first time we get to deliver coffee, which is about family, about getting together directly to the customer.
And it's a place that we've designed ourselves, you know, as if we're designing our own home for people to come in and enjoy a cup of coffee, and I just can't wait to invite them through the door. You know, our family is strong, we're healthy, and we're unstoppable.
One of the things that makes me very proud, my employees have been here, one of them is 38 years. We have 3 or 4 that are 25 years, some that are 30 years, some that are 20 years.
When you come to Gaviña, you really feel the bond that the family has and the employees have.
Actually, we have a fellow back there that he was #2 or #3 employee in the company, Pascual.
Our employees are as much part of our family as we are. We have grown old together, and we have had families together.
I was here when the company was formed in June of 1967. This company is very important to me.
I've always felt that the Gaviña family treats us, the employees, just like that, like we are family.
It's refreshing to work with people that truly enjoy what they do, and it kind of is a infectious kind of feeling.
Working for Gaviña means a livelihood to me.
This was my first job after I got out of the service. When I joined Gaviña, I got a family, I got love, I got to move up in life.
You feel part of something, and that something is quite wonderful.
It makes it a pleasure to work here.
This business has been based on a culture of tradition and family values. That's something that's very dear to my heart.
So that's really exciting that they really care about us, because we can take that care and concern and warmth and really take it out to the field with our customers.
Our customers are part of us as well. You know, we've had customers that have been many years. We just got an email the other day about a lady that has been with us for 30 years, which is wonderful, and restaurants and bakeries.
Yeah, the fact that the family has been there for 50 years, and many of the employees have probably been there just as long. It's very easy to work with. No matter how successful they've become, they're still the same people that I met 40 years ago.
You know, 50 years is a long time. It's more than a lifetime for most people.
We went through Cuba Independence War, we went through the revolution in Cuba, and we are 50 years later still in business. So I think we're going to be easy the next 50.
From the people, the products, the brands, it's just an amazing place to be. And when you put it all together, you know, that's what great coffee looks like.